Perfect.
Right, cool. So welcome everyone. We're joined by another coach this week. This week we've got Kane. Kane, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey guys, yeah, my name's Cain. I'm a personal trainer and online coach. Been in the industry for about just coming up to 3 years, and yeah, qualified with a strength conditioning degree at university, master's degree, sports science, physiology, and yeah, currently more so targeting women to help them lose weight and build muscle. But I've had an experience working with a fair different backgrounds with different goals.
Nice man. So strength and conditioning at heart, or is that just something
Yes.
you just kind of landed on when you went to uni?
So when I was in college, I was doing like a sports science BTech degree. So from there, I was a bit clueless what I wanted to do with life, to be honest. So I saw a university and thought I was always passionate about the gym. So expanding on the knowledge there to like help my own training and potentially coach people and athletes down the line would be, yeah, really valuable and interesting to me.
Nice. So what? Because you actually went and done the masters in the strength and conditioning.
Oh, that was sports science physiology, but it was definitely
Oh,
like
okay, cool.
linked to that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How has that helped you, like, kind of with your personal training and your programming? Like, do you use some of those things that you learned there in your training and stuff, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, originally when I was at university, my goal was to go into strength and conditioning for mixed martial artists and like just combat sports in general. So I have coached a few people one-to-one boxing and implemented some actual like S&C sessions for them. So yeah, it's really valuable and just overall fun, I guess, to be able to like train these kind of athletes in these sport-specific exercises to help develop their own athleticism. Hopefully, it's something I can revisit further down the line, but yeah, currently just more so focusing on helping civilians currently.
Yeah, the gem pop, the everyday person, right? Um, you'd still like to go down the athlete route then at some point, or?
Yeah, I think so. To be honest, I feel like university was a little bit of a scam because you could get your bachelor's degree in strength and conditioning, but then you still need to do the UK SCA qualification on top of that. And after a
Yeah.
good 6 years of education, I thought I'm a bit tired of studying. I just want to get out, get some experience, and help people.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that. So I done nutrition and it was sport nutrition, so performance nutrition. Like the guy that we had on Friday. And then actually by the time that you finish the qualification, you then have to do like 4 years like in practice before you could actually do not so much sport nutrition, but like in nutrition, you have to have actual like experience in the field before you can then you have to be registered as a nutritionist, which is then like clinical field. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, this was
Yeah,
pretty. It's just the start of a slippery slope, basically.
proper scam, right? You get to the point where you live in the broke student lifestyle for so long. It's like, fuck this. I just want to go out and make some money,
It's valuable.
get some proper
Like
experience.
you get to learn stuff, but
Yeah.
then as you said, yeah, it doesn't get you to where you want to be essentially. Um, but kind of reading it in a little bit, like what got you into the gym? What got you training? What was like that first step in the gym for you?
So I grew up like a very skinny kid. I remember like in was it year 10 when I was like 14, I was weighing like 52 kg. But I
Yeah.
remember when I was younger, just watching movies like Predator, Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, man, I was a huge like WWE fan. So just seeing all their kind of crazy physiques, John Cena, The Rock, all of them, and was like, you know what, damn, I kind of want to look like that.
Yeah.
So then I started getting into martial arts. My first martial art was karate, and obviously, kind of getting with learning the art and fighting. It's obviously good to be a bit stronger, faster, and then yeah, eventually, it's got more and more into the gym from there, and it's become an addiction that I've not been able to kick since then.
So what's your style of training? What is it? Because I know that you studied strength and conditioning. Like what do you train that way, or is it a mix, or how's that look?
So yeah, when I was younger, I was playing like a lot of football and martial arts. So I was still wanting to gain a bit of muscle and keep the leanness, but kind of football and martial arts kind of took priority. So I wasn't like looking to bulk up and get like too big. So I couldn't go on like a crazy kind of bulk or anything like that. Um, so it was more just yeah, just general kind of hypertrophy stuff. But up until about 2023, typical, I got a nasty knee injury, so I couldn't play football or martial arts. Could have gone pro if it wasn't funny. I'm
Yeah,
joking. But then I was like, fuck, I can't do any of like the sports that I love. What can I do? And like kind of the only thing was the gym, just like weightlifting. So I started bulk because I started at around low 80 kgs and yeah, just started getting more into a bit of like powerlifting stuff. So I was trying to get my bench press up and so it would usually be start off with a bit of like powerlifting stuff, then go on to general kind of bodybuilding stuff from there.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like that currently. Um, since I was young, I've been having like kind of chronic lower back pain. I mean, obviously I had the knee injury, so a lot of my training was a lot of rehab kind of work for that, um, which it's kind of worked as a bit of a blessing because now I have knowledge to help people who suffer those same kind of injuries to kind of fix them. So I literally wasn't able to like squat or deadlift for a fair few years because of the pain it would cause. So
Mm.
I've finally been able to kind of get back to that. Do get occasional flare-ups, but having like the knowledge to be able to like fix these injuries now makes it a lot more manageable to do. So yeah,
Nice.
currently, I mean, my goals right now, I want to get my bench press to 180 kg, squat and deadlift to 200 kg. But after that, planning like a hard cut, get nice and shredded like I used to be, and hopefully get back to football and martial arts again.
Nice. With touching on like the lower back and like the knee injury, because like that's such a common thing. What was key for you in like getting that back up to strength without trying to say back so many times?
No, it's okay. Um, so there's a lot of guys online who have emerged recently with a lot of valuable information. So one of them will be Squat University, knees over toes guy, and low back ability. So I was looking at like a lot of their content and what they do. So some of the most viable stuff, for like the knees in particular, is isometric holds, like Spanish squat, which is I don't know if you know this or for the listeners. It's kind of where you go to the bottom of a squat with a band around your knees and you just hold it there for 45 seconds. And the isometrics are really good for the patellar tendon and as well as for the knee, doing full range of motion, knees over the toe movements.
Nice.
Um, yeah, you see a lot of old myths saying, "Oh, you shouldn't squat knees over toes; it's bad for your knee." And those old studies basically found that it puts more pressure on the knee joint, but pressure doesn't necessarily equate to being bad. So that was the two kind of main things for the knee that I found helpful. And yeah, with the lower back in particular, I think for myself, it was having like super tight hip flexors. So a lot of stretching for them.
Mm.
Two other stretches I found that have helped me out the most is like the hip flexor lunge stretch and then the couch stretch, where similar to the lunge stretch, but you have like your knee kind of bent, resting up against the wall of the couch. And then along with that, just direct lower back work. So the back extension, literally a magic exercise, and has been like the exercise that's probably helped my back the most.
How
I
how
still find
long
it quite unbelievable how well it has worked.
how long did you find that you had to do that for? Was it
Um, so with the knee kind of stuff, probably I think it was about since February 2023, and then I started to kind of get pain free since about the summer 2023, but I'd get the occasional kind of flare up still. But yeah, I think 6 months consistent training was really good for the knee. And the lower back's kind of weird because sometimes it will trigger, but if you kind of do the right exercises, like for example, like a back extension isometric hold at the top,
mm.
then I've had times where the pain will literally disappear from being like crippling pain where I could hardly move out of bed, like someone was had a knife stuck in me to essentially going away. Or other times it's been like up to like a week to recover from there.
Nice? So actually, for like listeners hearing, if they suffer with any like back pain or knee injury or anything like that, like there's actually some hope for them. Because I think a lot of the time people are like, oh, I'll never be able to do anything again. But obviously for you, you've experienced it yourself. Um, it is possible.
Yeah, big time. So I had a flare up with my lower back again on, I think it was about October, September. It's basically leg pressing, probably too heavy, going too deep, and yeah, literally felt like somebody stabs me with a knife right, literally in the sacroiliac joint. So kind of yeah, bottom right side of the lower back, and yeah, I was messed up big time. I could hardly get out of bed, turn without stabbing sharp pain. But I remember just going to the gym, being able to do like a single leg back extension hold, I think it was about 3 sets of 30 seconds, and the pain went from about a 9 to like a 2. And then a few months later, I've been able to hit PRs for the squat and deadlift, 165 kg, 1 rep max for the squat, 170 kg for the deadlift. So it's pretty crazy how you go from that kind of intense pain to starting to get some decent numbers on these exercises.
Yeah, and yeah, how what do you think has been key in that development for? Because obviously, once you've passed those injuries, what's been key in your training? Would would you say to excel to those like higher levels of like weightlifting?
Um, so I'd probably just go kind of on progressively overloading. So one method that I do like to use to help kind of build up the strength is go onto a 1 rep max calculator.
Okay.
And so say, for example, I could do 140 kg for a lift. So then the next kind of target for like a 1 rep max would be, for example, 145 kg. So I'd look at the 1 rep max calculator, then it would have like your 90%, 85, 80%, and it would say what kind of weights you should be able to do for X amount of reps. So then, like each session, being able to try a few of those different weights at those amount of reps, which should equate to the one I'm actually targeting, has been like a, I've had a lot of success with doing that basically.
Nice. So essentially,
And I don't really see a lot of people doing that as much,
yeah,
but yeah, it's definitely really helpful.
because I've seen calculators and I haven't really utilized it in terms of like my own training. So, like, just to kind of recap on that. So, what is it? You put in your working sets and then it will tell you your one estimated one rep or
So based on what your current warm-up max kind of is, you want to go for like a realistic goal, not too much heavier. So like I was saying, so say if your current is 140 kg, then you'd plug in 145 kg, and then you'd calculate that, and then it would say, for example, okay, if you can do 145 kg for one, you should be able to do, for example, 135 kg for 2 reps, which is like your 90%, for example. So then one training session, you try like 135 kg for 2 or 3 reps,
right?
if
Okay.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when you, because like there's a lot of controversy around kind of like the 1 and 2 rep max training, or like not so much training. I don't know how have you utilized that, or like do you do that often, or is it kind of like a one-off thing?
Uh, Fairly often. I mean, obviously, you don't necessarily just have to do like the high ends, like 90, 85% stuff. Like you could do like your 70% stuff. So, say, for example, that's regarding the example I just used, if, for example, if you can do 120 kg for 8 reps, then that should correlate to 145 kg for 1 rep, for example. And I like doing that because then you can work at different rep ranges. So, obviously, if you're trying to build the muscle, a bit higher reps is a bit more conducive for that. So it's kind of a nice change to be able to work at different breadth ranges and improve the strength there, working all along the strength curve.
Nice, cool. Um, did you have anything you wanted to ask me?
Yeah, what's your main kind of training goals? What's your training style like?
So for me at the minute, I'll be so real. Like, so what? It's probably about 2 months ago now. I done a photo shoot, and after that, I was just like, oh, I can't be asked of this anymore. So literally signed up to a program because I was like, I think when you work in online coaching or PT or that, you get so exhausted with exercise, workout programs that when it comes to your own training, you're kind of just like, oh, you kind of lose it a little bit. So signed up to an online program. So I've been following that for the last few weeks, and it's shown me a lot of new things as well. Because I think I was actually speaking to someone. yesterday in the gym, and they were interested about my training. They were like, "Oh, but like surely like you're always motivated, you're always training, like you're always just doing something." I'm like, "Nah, I'm always signing up and like learning new things. Like I have no idea about everything. Obviously I've got my method that I like, which is mostly kind of like hypertrophy, high reps, low weight. I'm a much more volume type of person. Obviously we push the weight and there's progressive overload, but I love volume. Um, so yeah, for me, I was just like, nah, like at the minute right now, I just need someone else to kind of give me a program and and help me out because I just can't think about it at the minute. But that's kind of where I am at the minute. But yeah, I'm a massive fan of volume.
Yeah, that's smart. I think like obviously if you've got like your as a coach, yeah, things can get a bit stale for you. And basically, I think a lot of the time you give people kind of training methods you'd use yourself. So I think getting that like outside help to kind of maybe try some new things, get you out of your comfort zone, and just freshen up your training. Yeah, that's kind of a great thing that you've done there.
Would you?
Hopefully gives you that love and passion back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the, it's not like I've fallen out of it. It's just kind of like, oh, I just very much focused on kind of like the online side of things or building programs, it's kind of like, oh, I haven't even thought about myself. And yeah, as you said, yeah, hopefully that then comes back and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'm ready. Like this is my new program. Let's fly forward with this. But yeah, it's been really helpful signing up for like getting to see like how other coaches do things and like how other people do stuff. So that's been really interesting. Um, you say you've been qualified for 3 years. Has that always been PT? Is that was that throughout uni or was it is it online? Like what does that look like for you? What's your journey been?
Um, so I originally completed my undergrad in 2020, but as we know, there's a little thing called COVID-19 that emerged around that time.
Yeah.
So I was going to try and start my master's degree, but obviously with the lockdown restrictions, finding employment at that time was very hard. I wasn't qualified as a PT at this time, so I eventually started working in retail in JD, and oh my God, I hated it. Wanted to blow my brains out essentially. So I was like, I've got a strength and conditioning degree. Let's do something with this. So at that time, started doing my PT qualification, and then eventually got it. Yeah, started working with the gym group since April 2022, and yeah, that's basically my journey from university. Yeah, due to basically with COVID, I had to take a gap year from university because basically with my student loan, I kind of had to use it as using it to live off. So eventually, I returned to education to finish my master's in 2023, fully
Mm.
qualified 2024.
And this is the crazy thing is like most people will be like, oh, like you went to uni, so like you can start PTing or whatever, but that's actually a separate course that you have to do, isn't it? Like just because,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and I think
it's
that's
pretty
just
annoying.
crazy thing. Yeah, exactly. Like you go to uni, like you go, like you do strength and conditioning, or you do like sports science or whatever, and still to actually PT someone is a separate qualification, which is just crazy. And like most people, um, try not to go on a little bit of a rant here, but like PTs get the tough end of the stick, and it's like, hold on, like that's a separate qualification you have to learn. Even you could do like master in strength and conditioning, you still couldn't PT someone or coach them essentially. So it's still a separate thing that you need to have, which is just it's yeah mental to me.
Oh, for real. Yeah, it feels like you're overly qualified at that point once you get like your
Yeah, literally.
bachelor's and masters, then you got to like do this extra thing on top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
mental.
the gym floor, you're looking around, you're like, oh, um, these aren't my people. You kind of have to reel it in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but yeah, obviously, like uni. What uni did you go to?
It was Derby University. What about
Nice.
yourself?
Mine was St Mary's, so down in Twickenham, so London. Um,
Oh, cool.
quite a small campus, but I liked it. I mean, I pretty much was just in and out, just done the qualification and clapped my hands together and left. I enjoyed it though. It was good learning, but probably could have done it online.
I think I definitely enjoyed. going in for a lot of stuff because I think we had like a lot of practicals and yeah, definitely connected with a lot of, well, a fair few people who I can still call friends now and who I've like learned from. And yeah, I've had a fair few knowledgeable, viable lecturers and their practicals definitely helped. Um, so yeah, I think overall I was a fan. I think COVID kind of messed up like the final year, for example, but yeah, definitely had some valuable knowledge there. I think with the course, they probably could have introduced a few more modules that are a bit more applicable because to be honest, I feel like I was expecting to learn a little bit more than I actually did.
Yeah. Would you feel like was missing for you?
So I feel like for so obviously the degree was strength and conditioning. So I thought they would probably have like literally modules for like kind of every kind of sport, the best way to train them. But
Yeah.
like for example, with some of the modules, it would just be like, oh, you're going to make a periodized program, for example, for this just like one sport in particular. So I just feel like kind of having a wider range would then give people on the course more options to go to further in life.
Yeah. It's like I was gonna say, like for anyone kind of listening to this and thinking, there might be a younger audience that are thinking, oh, like I kind of want a PT, I want to coach, or I want to go to university. Um, what would kind of be your advice, or like what would you say from your experience? I kind of gained like an idea, but what would you kind of say to like a young person being like, oh, I think about going to university?
I think it's definitely a valuable experience. There's a lot you can learn. But for example, I think if I could change things, I would have probably tried to have done like my PT qualification while I was still studying. Because I feel
Mm,
like sometimes basically you just need some practical work experience to go with that. And it's not always a streamlined process. So it's like as soon as you finish university, you can go just do wherever you want to work. It's going to be a lot longer process than that. So I think that's something that people should be aware of and something that's not necessarily made as clear to people on the course when yeah,
when
it's going on.
yeah. And yeah, I can reflect that. It's definitely valuable. I wouldn't write it off completely. But whatever you get pitched as the courses being, it usually tends to be something a little bit different. So yeah, no, I loved uni. I had a great time. But yeah, it was I probably could have got it done in 2 years rather than three. Um,
Yeah.
you kind of lose that momentum a little bit. Like in the first year, everything's like good, you're smashing it, whatever. And then kind of when it gets to the third year, you're kind of just so exhausted by it that, you know, probably could have squeezed it and got it done in two. But it is what it is. Um, nutrition, a funny, always an interesting like topic or discussion. Like for you, what does your diet look like, or what do you believe in? Are you a keto guy? Are you a carnivore guy? Like what's your approach on that?
For the most part, I would say definitely based around high protein. Obviously, with me trying to kind of build a bit of muscle and strength, fairly high calorie, but I do try and do like 6 days in the gym per week and get 10,000 steps as well. So yeah, I'd say it's around kind of 4,000 calories. Uh, Nutrition wise, usually in the morning, I'm too lazy to cook breakfast or anything like that. So I'll usually go for like a big protein shake, sometimes mix some extra like fruit or peanut butter into there. Lunch most of the time, I'm not as lazy. I will meal prep. I usually go for steak mince with sweet potato, bit of cream cheese, and some veggies there.
Hmm,
And then, yeah, typically dinner will be barbecue chicken in the air fryer. I've literally been having that every day for like the past few months.
nice.
Unbeatable there. And then usually a type of pasta bake that I can meal prep.
Yeah. How would like and I think a lot of people overcomplicate like the meal prep. Um w- like what's your kind of go-to dish for meal prepping? Like how easy is it?
Um, so for me, like I was saying, I think steak mince and sweet potatoes work really well. Making a pasta bake's always good. So just having a fridge so you can just get some portions out, or just I don't know, maybe making like a big batch of chicken because then with it on the day, if you fancy, for example, pasta with it, if you want to put it into a wrap or with rice or sweet potato, for example, potatoes, something like that, then super flexible. I think meal prep can be good like that. So some people will be like, oh, I don't want to eat the same thing every day.
Mm.
But then, for example, if you just batch cooking a big meat, I mean, it's kind of the same meat, but then you can be flexible with it. So yeah, change the kind of dish or carbohydrate that you do serve with it.
Mm. So like just to actually recap so people can hear that. Um like one of your meals that you said is literally beef mince and sweet potato, right? Like not complicated at
Yeah,
all. So easy to do and it's effective. Like you've got your carbohydrate, you've got your protein, and you've got your fats in the beef as well. And it's just like I think people were like so crazy over what that has to look like or this beautiful, colourful meal. But actually just something like that is so simple and so effective.
absolutely, and saves you money as well. I feel
Yeah.
like so many people just waste money with like their lunch times, just yeah, buying all sorts of kind of crap when you prepare at the weekend for a few days. You're going to be saving yourself a lot of money in the long run, and then spending your money a lot more wisely on things that you actually enjoy.
Yeah, literally like bulk buying meat, bulk buying potatoes, like you're sorted for the whole week rather than spending, like, it's like £5 with like a meal deal now, or if you're buying lunch, it's probably up towards like 12, 10, £12. So it's just like it's crazy the amount of money that gets spent on like lunches for people. Mental. Um
Yeah, absolutely.
have you tried any diets or fad like what we'd call like fad diets or like have you tried any dieting type or
Um, Not really. I don't think so. I usually just see the fad diets as kind of what they are, as a fad, and I think people overcomplicate it a little bit. Obviously, you want your proteins, a bit of carbohydrates for energy, fruit and veggies for uh, nutrients and vitamins, and just balance that around healthily. And then either within like a calorie deficit maintenance or in like a surplus, and then you can get to where you want to be without having to like necessarily completely cut out a food that you love.
yeah. Do you feel like you've made like life sacrifices to get where you are now in terms of like your training or and kind of your strength in particular?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I spend a lot of time in the gym, but that I think that's probably like a better substitute as to things I could be doing. So, for example, I'm not just wasting time sitting on my ass watching TV, Xbox, or I mean, sometimes it's at the expense of maybe seeing some friends or whatever, but in the long run, it's going to get you to where you want to be, like happy with your body. Then if your body's looking better for your business, then that's in turn going to pay off more in the long run. Yeah, there's literally been days where people have like invited me out for a night out, but I'm like, do I really want to do this? I've got like a heavy leg day or push in I've got to do tomorrow. So I mean, at least we're saving money there, but
Yeah.
I think there is definitely sacrifices, but not all good things come easy. You do have to make sacrifices to achieve some of your goals for sure.
Nice. Where would you like to be this time next year in terms of like your training or do you have a particular goal in mind or
So yeah, as I kind of touched on before, I'm still kind of on a bit of a powerlifting type journey. So within the next few months, 180 kg bench press would be great.
hmm
Squat and deadlift up to 200 kg. Once I've kind of hit all these numbers, I feel like I should be big and strong enough to get like a nasty cut going. I miss having my abs showing. So, and I also miss playing football, doing martial arts, and actually having a good level of cardio. So this time next year, hopefully shredded, strong, and looking the best I've ever been.
nice man. Excited for that. Um kind of like finishing up, kind of what so I've done this with Alex is like what's three things that you hold like valuable to you in terms of like your routine, whether it's balance or your training, like what would you say are like kind of like your three things that you live by? I can give you an example if you like. So like yesterday, so
Yeah, sure.
Alex mentioned like sleep. Um, he mentioned protein, and then he said progressive overload. They're like his three key things. Like without them, he doesn't think that he could be where he is, or clients won't make progress that they can without that. Like, what's your three kind of key things?
Yeah, so it's probably going to sound kind of boring since I'll probably steal two of those, but I'll try and add some original ones myself. So definitely protein and progressive overloads, but let me
Yep.
give you three more fresh ones. Consistency for sure.
Nice.
So staying consistent, you won't make progress without that. Um, I'll keep it at those three for now. Sorry if that's a bit of a
Yeah, yeah,
boring
that's
answer.
all right. That's all right. Why is protein so important? Like what because that's the thing, right? So if anyone's listening to this or people that have listened to other podcasts, they're like, why is everyone bang on about protein? Like what is it? Like why is it so special? Like why is it what's such a key thing for you about protein?
So obviously, once you're in a heavy training session, your muscles, the muscle fibers are damaged, so you need the protein to rebuild. So they get stronger, you can build more muscle. Then also for people who are like trying to cut weight, it maintains that muscle mass when you are in a bit of a more of a calorie deficit, as well as high protein foods will keep you more satiated, full up, less likely to snack
Mm,
or that. But yeah, without protein, you're not going to get bigger or stronger. A analogy that I use for a lot of my clients is imagine you're trying to grow a flower.
mm,
You can train, but if you're not getting the protein in, it's like a flower. It's in the soil, it's getting watered, but there's no sunlight, so it's not going to be able to grow.
nice. So true. You need a combination of all things, but yeah, as you said, like you need that
Yeah,
magic ingredient.
absolutely.
And that tends to be protein for us. Um, so yeah, there are three things that you kind of stand by and live by. Is there anything else that you wanted to say, or just shout out? Maybe shout out your Instagram as well, where people can find you.
Okay, cool. So you guys can find me at Coach Cain Lowe. So Coach and then CAINLOWE.
Nice. So yeah, head over, look at Kane's stuff. Wait for the shred. See what he get the see the strength gains and then see your shred. Gonna look insane. But yeah, no, it was good catching up with you, man. And yeah, thanks for coming on. Some good insight as well, especially like touching the university base and not a lot of coaches have been to uni. Not that that's a bad thing, but kind of not many have gone the route of university, probably deciding that it's not for them and then taking a step back. A lot of people wouldn't have that kind of within them to be like, oh no, it's actually okay to step back and you're going to be in a better place after, rather than just blindlessly following like the system as such. So yeah, some good insight there. And again, like on powerlifting and then like the injury stuff as well. Like it's really cool to see that you've managed to overcome those struggles. So yeah, no, appreciate you coming on. It was a good episode, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you again.
All right, thank you so much for the platform and the opportunity to share the story and speak with you
Nice man. And when's your podcast coming out?
very soon. This
Yeah.
is actually my first ever podcast thing I've ever done like this, so gonna have to get this up and running ASAP and get you on as one of my guests for sure.
Nice man. You smashed it today. Like appreciate it. And yeah, we'll catch up after. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Appreciate that.